They understand that foundational Black Americans, it's a lineage, ain't a group. It's another way of saying African American without saying African American. It's more precise. It's foundational Black American. It's a lineage. And let's get Tony. Let's get Tony in here. He's up there in Canada, I think. Tony's. What's up, Tony? How are you, buddy?
You seem to have a lot of time for these boys from Atlanta, you know?
Yeah, they doing the most. But what's on your mind,
yeah.
bro?
So, for one question is am I entitled to reparations? You know, I've got some ancestry from America who left and went back to Africa at the soonest opportunity they could. Another question would be your FBA. Your name is it's not an indigenous American name, is it?
It doesn't matter. That's inconsequential. Now let's get back into the thing about you being entitled to reparations. Now, how would you be entitled to reparations if you're not FBA?
My ancestry goes back to America. So I had slaves who freed themselves and went back to Freetown, Sierra Leone.
So the Liberians, right?
No, Freetown, Sierra Leone. Liberia is slightly different.
Oh, okay, because a lot of the people who were in Liberia, some of them went over there to Sierra Leone. Yeah, if you can trace, this is the thing, if you can trace your family to the 1870 census, you're good to go. But all of that stuff about my family left to see, that ain't gonna work.
Yeah, I can trace back to that census, but I've not lived in America myself, you know?
Right. That's the thing, and you wouldn't be qualified if you haven't lived here, and your family left, and all of this stuff. No. Because see, that opens. There were unique situations like that, and for the collective, we can't have these outlier situations pop off because that just opens the door for a damn finesse. So that's not going to work.
Okay, fair enough. Can you explain a bit about the history of your name, just so I can understand a bit about your background in the movement?
Okay, that's inconsequential. What does that have to do with anything as far as the reparations claim?
No, not to do with reparations, but it's. I assume it's a name you chose for yourself.
Right. It's just it's a name I chose for myself. It's a name that I chose for myself. What about it? What's the point of it?
An Islamic name, from what I understand, right?
Is the General Tariq, the man who conquered the Moors. I mean, the man who was a Moor who went up there and conquered Spain and took over Spain. His name was General Tariq. So it's an African name. It's an Islam.
So you accept some of your heritage as African?
I accept all of my African heritage, not some of it, all of it.
Okay, because I thought you were. And I thought you considered yourself indigenous American. Is that not part of your thinking?
Have you heard my broadcast before?
I've heard some of it. You seem to have a lot of followers who are indigenous. They believe they're Native Americans. Is that not?
Have you heard one of them? Have you heard me? Because I've been very clear. See, let's get an understanding. I don't leave any confusion about anything. Okay? So if anybody misinterprets what I said, that's deliberate. I've been extremely clear on what my lineage is and what my genealogy is. Genetically, of course, I have African ancestry like everybody. Everybody has African ancestry. Okay.
So your claim is that you have your African ancestry is just the same as a person from Sweden's African ancestry, or do you accept that you are an African?
I'm not African. Culturally, I'm not African. Genetically, I have African ancestry. Culturally, I am not African. Just like a Jamaican, they don't call themselves African Jamaicans. Why do they not do that?
Well, a lot of them do. Most Jamaicans that I know, there's a lot of us in London who consider themselves African.
They don't call themselves African Jamaican, not one. Nobody in Jamaica, from Jamaica, not one calls themselves African Jamaican. Literally not one. And you know that, sir. Don't have a bad faith argument here, sir.
Bob Marley considers himself an African. I mean, Marcus Garvey, African.
Sir, they didn't call themselves African Jamaicans.
No, they just called themselves Pan-Africans, yeah.
No, they didn't, sir. You're not being honest, and this is the problem. When you get into these bad faith arguments and then you try to claim that you have some type of African ancestry and you're not even being honest about your whole narrative, that's a problem. That's a problem.
You saying Marcus Garvey wasn't a Pan-African? Is that what you're saying?
Marcus Garvey was supported in Jamaica. The Jamaicans didn't support Marcus Garvey. The Jamaicans didn't support Marcus Garvey, and none of the Caribbeans did. He didn't get his movement popping nowhere in the Caribbean. He failed in the Caribbean. He had to come over here. And you're trying to rewrite the argument, which is deceptive. Nobody's talking about pan-Africanism. I'm talking about identity. Jamaicans don't call themselves African Jamaicans, and you sitting up here talking about Marcus Garvey is a pan-Africanist. See, these type of bad faith arguments.
Okay, let's bring it back to good faith. Let's bring it back to good faith.
This is why foundational Black Americans, we've circled our wagons because we had to understand people coming into the mix with these bad faith arguments are usually non-FBA people. So we have to do a little cleanup job here. This is what we're doing now so that we won't have talks like this that's just bad faith. Turn your microphone on, Tony.
Okay. So this FBA movement, just so I can understand it, there seems to be a lot of animosity towards Africans. Right?
Here's the Jennifer Hudson. Why do you hate
Who's Jennifer Hudson?
Yeah, this. Why don't you love me? Why do you?
Oh, no, I'm unaffected.
I'm telling you, I'm not going. Nobody cares. Y'all got the same pitch. You're trying to center yourself. Why does everything about us have to include you?
Well, I don't know what you mean by that exactly, but I mean...
Well, I do. Everything we do as foundational Black Americans, this insane sense of entitlement, sir, why does it have to include you?
Me myself, I'm invested in the success and well-being of Black people globally, you know? There are issues in culture globally. America, in particular, is very influential. Black America is very influential. Yeah, hip hop. It has a massive influence across the world. You know,
why do you guys have to center yourself among us? How come you just can't do you and build over there on your own? You have to center yourself around us and in our issues. In everything we do, you have this sense of entitlement.
What do you mean by entitlement? You mean being aware of the American situation?
We're talking about our culture. We have a unique culture as foundational Black Americans, and you're talking about why we hate you. We're not thinking about you or any other non-FBA person, sir. We can care less. That's you trying.
What do you mean by culture? You mean like a subculture of the parent culture, which is white American culture? Is that what you mean by FBA culture?
Hold on, wait a minute. Subculture? What's subculture? What are you talking about? We foundational Black Americans are the culture. We are the culture of America.
Well, Black American culture is American culture, is what you're saying?
Yes. No. Foundational Black American culture. We are the culture. We are what American culture is.
And can you explain that a little bit? Because, I know in America you've got various cultures that contributed to the wider American culture, like the Irish, etc. What do you mean? You're saying that American culture is...
What's the Irish culture, and how does that impact America? What is Irish culture in America?
Okay, so the suit that you're wearing in your profile picture, that's a kind of European culture, right?
If we want to go there, hell, the Moors were the ones who went up there and taught these people how to dress right. If we want to go there, and
the African ones, yeah. But I mean, you're saying that the suit you're wearing is an African culture?
I can say it's a black culture if we're going to go there.
Because it's purple.
Okay, sir, you're babbling now.
No, I mean, why is a suit an African culture? Why is it a Black American culture?
If we're going to talk about who influenced who, black folks influence Europeans on how to dress. If we want to go there.
Yeah, we're pretty fashionable, you know.
Right.
But for me, that suit and tie attire, it's European. It's culturally European, right? I don't think anyone could deny that.
Not really, but okay. So where
across the world, people wear baseball caps and things like that. That's also kind of just European culture, really, right?
Baseball caps? Well, black people have been wearing caps, and indigenous people, they've been wearing caps forever.
Yeah, baseball caps. Baseball caps.
If you look at the Olmec statues, they have on caps. These are black people. Indigenous black people over here, been here for thousands.
If you go to China, you see those little straw hats, those samurai type hats to keep the sun out of your face.
Okay, so the culture. So you're saying, okay, and suits aren't even Irish. That's not even part of Irish culture. So
no, I didn't say they were Irish. I said they're. But I asked you.
This is the problem. I asked you what Irish culture is, and you start talking about suits that don't even have anything to do with Ireland. So you're just babbling, sir. You're just saying anything for attention at this point, sir.
Not at all. I'm trying to understand you, Tariq.
You're not trying to understand. Sounds like you're just babbling for attention.
So I'm trying to understand what you mean by foundational Black American culture. Yeah.
Yes, that means everything. That means everything over here. Foundational Black American culture. We are sir. And are you in Canada now, or are you in the U.S. now?
Myself, I'm in the UK, United Kingdom, England.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so you're a gazillion miles away. If you're not even over here, why does our culture bother you so much? You're not even over here.
It doesn't bother me. I appreciate a lot of Black American culture. There are aspects that I feel are kind of cultivated by forces that work against black people, the CIA, like the crack.
Okay, let me ask you this. Hold on. So what part of American culture is not influenced, dominated, or founded by foundational Black Americans?
Well, I'm hoping you can tell me, because I don't see the link. I see the wider parent culture, and I see a lot of black people who've amalgamated themselves into that culture.
Okay, I'm okay. So you just made a statement, and I'm asking you to elaborate on the statement you just made. You said you see American culture, white American culture, and you see black people who amalgamated in it. I'm asking you, what is white American culture?
The suit you're wearing is white American culture. The language you're speaking is white American culture.
That's not white American culture. That's white European culture. That's British culture. But go ahead.
Sure, white American culture influenced white European culture. So that's what I'm saying. I see those things as white European, white American culture. So you're saying that actually that's foundational Black American culture. I'm trying to understand what is foundational Black American culture.
Okay, so most of the world speaks English. So is everybody else influenced by white Americans? Because y'all speak English over there. You speak English in Nigeria. Y'all speak English all over Africa. So does that mean that you guys are dominated by white American culture, right?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So growing up in the 80s, America had a massive push, a soft power push across the whole of the world. And that's why you find guys in Afghanistan wearing baseball caps. But that is the European white American culture that has been the parent culture of the world, you could say. If I just finish, can I land, Tariq? Can I finish?
Most okay, but most of the globe speak English, so the globe is dominated by white culture, which is white supremacy.
I agree. You know, what you're telling me, the statement you made,
because we were forced. Okay, let's be clear. We were forced to speak English. Okay,
I agree.
Okay, so if somebody's beating something into you, is that a culture or is that an occupation? Somebody's occupying your culture.
Something into you, then it's forced adoption of a culture. But what you're telling me is that foundational Black American culture is the culture. Yeah. So I'm trying to ask you to clarify that point.
A great question. All the positive things of American culture is based on foundational Black American culture. The key word is positive. All the positive things. Okay.
So you're thinking,
that's going back to my
rock and roll.
Let's go back. Hold on. Go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Slow down. You mentioned my suit a few times, talking about that's European culture. No, it's not. Europeans don't dress fly like me. What white man or white American dress fly like me? I wear fly.
Purple. It's a fly suit. It's a purple suit. Yeah, it looks good.
Yes, it is. They don't dress fly like that. They don't put them up together like that. That's foundational Black American culture. Yeah, they wear suits, but they don't flip it and put their own spin on it and put their own culture on it. Foundational Black Americans, we wear suits different than the white supremacists wear suits.
Right.
So that's not their culture. The way.
So what you're
wear it more fly. You see?
Yeah. So what you're saying is that the foundational Black American culture is a kind of upgrade of European culture.
No.
Then what are you saying?
Because there was no European culture until foundational Black American culture popped off, or white culture, so to speak, white American. There was no white American culture before foundational Black Americans brought that flavor. You understand that? There was no white American culture.
See, over here, we call it adding some sauce or some seasoning, you know? But the culture.
So again, I'm going to ask you again, what is white American culture? Positive. What is positive? What is constructive? What is white American culture? You said English, okay. But everybody speaks English, and English is a European thing. But what is white American culture?
White American culture. It's the parent culture of the world. Baseball caps. You know, the relationship with technology. But you know, Tariq. When you look at the rise of empire,
that's not even true. That's not even true, because a lot of the technological advances were founded by us, by foundational Black Americans, meaning light bulbs, telephones, all of that stuff came from foundational Black Americans, sir.
I can't disagree. Right. When you look at the Roman Empire, the Roman Empire crossed the planet. They went to different places. They looked at some of the technologies that were lying around. They'll go to one place and say, hey, they've got good bow and arrows here. I like the way these guys forge metal. And they would adopt that into their culture. You know? I don't see any difference in America. You know, so America's done the same thing. You know, Black Americans as a minority in America are, you know, very much so affected by the parent culture. We can't just say all of the positive aspects of America are Black American, because there's some negative aspects in Black America as well. Treatment of women, the attitude towards materialism, these kinds of things seem to be things that Black Americans adopted from the parent culture.
You don't stop, dude. You got a Nigerian flag in your profile, dude. Treatment of women, are we going there? Man, the way some of y'all treat the women over there in your homeland, are you really trying to go there, dude?
No, it's not tit for tat. It's not tit for tat.
We don't.
I just think American culture is more influential than African culture for Black people.
Y'all got forced female circumcisions. Y'all traffic children left and right.
No, that's not me. You got the wrong guy.
Man, if you don't stop, they got them. Nigerian women on the track out there in Britain. The minute they hit Europe, y'all be putting them on the track crazy. Y'all be abusing them.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
But,
you know. No, man, come on. Let's not go.
I'll ask another question. Do you think there's room for improvement?
Y'all be kidnapping whole villages, women, forced marriage, child marriage, and you got the nerve to sit up here and talk about what foundational Black Americans do with women? We don't do half the stuff y'all do over there, dude. I'm offended that you would go there.
I'm sorry you're offended.
With some of the,
I'm sorry. Generally, I'm sorry you're offended.
No. All right.